Welcome to all for the SWAM course Animal Waste Management, module name Animal Waste and Environment under the week 4 lecture number 6, and the topic of today's discussion is animal waste and climate change. Myself Dr. Anuradha Kumari, assistant professor in the Department of Livestock Production and Management, Faculty of Veterinary and Animal Sciences, Rajiv Gandhi South Campus, Barkacha. Today we will discuss how what is the climate changes, what is the agriculture pollution, and how the livestock waste lead to the climate changes, and what are the different strategies that can be helped when applied to prevent this climate change via the animal waste. First, we will start what is the climate change. Climate change is the long-term change in the weather condition or weather pattern of a particular area. It encompasses the change in the temperature, precipitation, wind pattern, and other environmental condition of a particular area. According to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, over a set period of 1880 to 2012, the average land and ocean temperature increased by 0.85 degrees Celsius. As a result of increased this temperature causes the melting of glacier and Arctic sea ices. Because of the melting of these ice, there is increase in the sea level by 0.1 meter during the said period of 1901 to 2010. Term the climate change, especially the increase in the atmospheric level of greenhouse gases, that is the carbon dioxide, methane and nitrous oxide and hydrofluorocarbon, which by virtue trap the heat radiated by the earth, lead to increase in the global temperature, causes the global warming. Based on the data, the CO2, the contribution of different greenhouse gases to the total global emission is CO2 contributing 77% of total global greenhouse gases, methane 14%, nitrous oxide 8%, and hydrofluorocarbon 1%. The intensity of warming of each these greenhouse gases is referred as global warming potential, and the global warming potential of each gas is expressed in the term of the global warming potential of carbon dioxide. When we compare the global warming potential of the methane and nitrous oxide with the hydrofluorocarbon, methane is 23 times more potent, nitrous oxide is 296 times more potent, and then hydrofluorocarbon is 12,000 times more potent compared to the carbon dioxide for the cause of global warming. If we see what are the different sources that are involved in the release of emission of the greenhouse gases are the process like the energy generation contribute 26% for the release of the greenhouse gases, industrial process 19%, change in the pattern of land use 17%, agriculture sector 14%, residential and commercial building 8%, and the waste and wastewater 3%. If we see the contribution of animal agriculture in the total greenhouse gas emission, animal agriculture either directly or indirectly lead to the emission of greenhouse gases. The major contribution is the different factors that are involved in the production of feed. All the red points shown here are the representative of direct emission. Here again, the enteric fermentation is the second most important and larger source of release of the greenhouse gases or methane gases via the animal agriculture, as we have discussed in the week 1 lecture of present module. So what is the agriculture pollution? Agriculture pollution refers as contamination of air, water or soil because of the agriculture activity like the use of pesticides, use of fertilizer, and here most importantly the improper waste management. What are the key pollutants that lead to the agriculture pollutant are the nutrient, chemical and the emission of the different gases through the livestock sources. What are the factors that is responsible for the animal agriculture pollution are the population growth, both human and animal, rapid urbanization, and increase the income of the people. Because of increase in income, the demand for the animal product is increasing day by day or almost become the double. To fulfill this huge demand, more and more livestock are fed to a particular in limited area. This to the development of concept of intensive livestock farming or factory farming on the cost of the environment or the climate change. So now we will see what is the contribution of different livestock processes in the release of the different greenhouse gases that ultimately lead to the climate change. Livestock sector uses the different type of natural resources and all in all responsible for the 14.5% of total anthropogenic greenhouse gas emission, and livestock sector is responsible for 80% of total emission from the agriculture sector as a whole. If we see the individual contribution of different greenhouse gases, 9% for the carbon dioxide, 36% for the methane, and 64% of nitrous oxide is contributed by the livestock production system. Out of this, 75% of CO2 is emitted by the ruminant species only. As we have discussed, methane and the nitrous oxide have a global warming potential 23 times and 296 times and have a lifetime of 12 and 114 years respectively, compared to the half-lifetime of CO2 that is in the range of 100 to 300 years. So any mitigation strategy is less effective when we are give a more concentration on CO2. However, most of the mitigation strategy work on to reduce the emission of methane and nitrous oxide because of their more lower warming potential and less half-lifetime in the environment after their release. As per the report of FAO, India is among the top 6 country that is involved in the greenhouse gases and contributing to the 6% of global emission. India have the largest livestock population, and the bovine population is the major contributing factor that is responsible through which it involved in the climate change. As we have already discussed, that the two basic processes through which livestock contribute to the release of different greenhouse gases are the enteric fermentation and manure management. Enteric fermentation we have already discussed in the first lecture of this module, that in the rumen, because of the breakdown of the complex carbohydrate by the methanogens, methane are produced under the anaerobic condition. Along with that, manure management practices also contributing to the release of methane. When manure are managed under the anaerobic condition, methanogenic bacteria become active and causes the breakdown of organic compound into the methane. Not only during this anaerobic process, many times livestock manure are stored in a lagoon and pits. During this storage period, anaerobic condition influence the breakdown and causes the release of methane. This is the image showing the contribution of livestock through the different process for the release of the greenhouse gases, mainly the methane and nitrous oxide. We have already discussed the enteric fermentation in the previous lecture, and now we are mainly concentrated on how the manure management contribute to the methane emission and the nitrous oxide, which are the most important gases responsible for the greenhouse effect and finally the climate change. As we have already discussed, the enteric fermentation causes the breakdown of complex carbohydrate into the different type of volatile fatty acid, and during the fermentation process, hydrogen is produced that combine with the CO2 and lead to the production of the methane. So methane is one of the byproduct of enteric fermentation. In this lecture, as we have discussed, we will mainly focus the direct methane emission through the manure, and what are the different ways through which animal production system, livestock production system causes the environment or climate change, like through the nutrient runoff, through the soil erosion, or by affecting the air quality. Sources of greenhouse gases from the livestock farm. As we have, manure emit both the methane and nitrous oxide. The quantity of both the gases is dependent upon the environmental condition, type and the composition of animal manure, that is the content of the organic carbon and the nitrogen. Under anaerobic condition, organic matter mainly decomposed and produces the methane and carbon dioxide. On another hand, for the production of nitrous oxide, both combination of anaerobic and aerobic condition is required. Now we will start discussion mainly concentrating on the release of nitrous oxide through the manure. When manure are applied, as a fertilizer on agriculture field lead to the release of nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide is generated during this process application both through the nitrification process and denitrification process. Process of nitrogen present in the manure, which is in the form of organic as a protein or in the inorganic form as ammonium or ammonia. Nitrification process occur in aerobic condition and convert ammonia and ammonium present in the livestock manure to nitrates, then first to nitrites, then to nitrates. While during the anaerobic condition, denitrification process occur and convert these nitrates to nitrous oxide and the nitrogen gas. Because effect of the sunlight, this nitrogen dioxide is back converted into nitrous oxide, and during this process release of oxygen, nascent oxygen that combined with the oxygen to form the ozone. This rise in the concentration of ozone at the ground level is very detrimental, lead to different respiratory health problems. So sources of nitrous oxide from the livestock waste. Nitrous oxide, as we have discussed, is a potent greenhouse gas contributing to the 6% of total global emission, causes the depletion of stratospheric ozone layer and leads to the climate change. Although its concentration of nitrous oxide in atmosphere is very less, but it has a global warming potential, as we have discussed, 265 tons compared to the CO2 over a set period of 100 years, making nitrous oxide the third most abundant anthropogenic greenhouse gases. What are the different sources through which livestock farm contribute to the nitrous oxide? Is most important in the grassland. With the nitrogen, during the grazing period, nitrogen deposited from the animal excreta, that is from urine and the dung, is the single largest most source of the nitrous oxide on the earth, followed by the manure and finally by the nitrogen fertilizer applied on the agriculture field. Here we can see during the process animal waste, that is urea and urine, in that nitrogen is present in the form of inorganic ammonia and ammonia. During the aerobic condition, these both contain through the process of nitrification converted into nitrate. Some of nitrate through the denitrification process converted to nitrous oxide and nitrogen released into the environment. However, some of the nitrate leach into the groundwater and causes the contamination of groundwater, increase the concentration that is very harmful when it is consumed. What are the other way through which livestock farming leads to the climate change? Most important, the nutrient runoff. When the soil is fertilized with the surplus animal manure or untreated manure, these extra nutrient pollute the nearby water bodies by the excess of nutrient, mainly the nitrogen and the phosphorus. This excess nutrient causes the excess growth of algae, that is algal bloom. Excess algal bloom absorb during the decomposition of these algae, they consume the maximum oxygen, result into the increase in the biological oxygen demand of the said water bodies. Excess growth of these algae also prevent the penetration of light to the underlayer of water and lead to the creation of dead zone. During the process of growth, these algae also produce different types of toxins that are very harmful for the different aquatic life. Along with that, when the topsoil particles become loosened or discharged because of the different animal activity, leads to release of nutrient, loosening of nutrient, and that is flow with the nutrient, causes the nutrient runoff. Overgrazing, which is the main cause of soil erosion and loosening of this nutrient. Overgrazing, which when livestock grazing on the pasture for extended period of without giving a pasture a time for the recovery through the hoofs of the cow and the different livestock, causes the erosion of soil as well as from a particular space and lead to the soil erosion. Animal waste or animal production also affect the quality of air and finally affect the climate change. Livestock waste or livestock rearing release the different harmful gases like ammonia, nitrous oxide, methane, as we have discussed, affect the quality of air and add to the global burden and lead to the climate change. Most gaseous pollutants from the livestock industry originate through the breakdown of fecal matter and through the and the concentration of such gases in a part depend upon the type of ventilation system, rate of emission, as well as the stocking density of the animal. Along with these important pollutant, other aerial pollutant like the organic, inorganic dust, pathogens are also present in the animal waste that are responsible for the air pollution. When sometimes manure emits ammonia, when manure emits ammonia that combine with the other air pollutant like the nitrogen oxide and sulfur to form a particulate matter. When human inhale this particle causes heart and lungs problem, as one report that lungs disease said that at least approx 3.3 million of death yearly globally occur because of this inhalation of dust, this solid particle, because of it affect the hearts and lungs. As we know, antibiotics are used in the animal production to improve the animal immunity, so the animal can be reared under the intensive livestock farming system in the absence of ideal environment condition and good type of resources. But continuous use of this antibiotic increases the antibiotic resistance. When animal manure because of rainwater through the nutrient runoff reaches to the water bodies, lead to the development of this antibiotic resistant into the different microorganism. Antibiotic resistant bacteria are among the greatest health threat that we are facing today. A study conducted in 2023 that is estimated that about 1.7 million people per year die worldwide as a direct result of antibiotic resistance. And so what are the different strategies that can be used to handle the livestock waste to prevent its effect and to reduce its effect on climate changes? There are the various strategies available, ranging from the changing the manure handling system to the different use of different feed additive. Most important common is the aerobic composting. Aerobic composting in the presence of oxygen prevent the growth of pathogenic bacteria which required anaerobic condition, so reduce the methane production and hence help into the prevent the its bad effect. Along with that, anaerobic digestion is a process where manure is break down into a valuable biogas, which is a combination of methane and carbon dioxide. Methane produced can be used for the generation of energy. By handling the animal waste through the anaerobic digestion, help in the 30% reduction in the release of methane gases or greenhouse gases. Along with that, different manure handling process like covering the storage system that prevent the release of gases into the atmosphere, separating the liquid and the solid content, because liquid content is more prone to the anaerobic digestion and that result into the methane production. This system altogether help in the 30% reduction in the release of methane into the environment. Other animal management strategy like the frequent removal of animal manure from the animal housing help to prevent the production of anaerobic condition and finally the release of methane into the environment. If the nowadays poultry are reared on a housing system supplied by the conveyor belt system, because of the conveyor belt system manure are continuously and removed daily, so prevent its accumulation, development of the anaerobic condition and help to prevent the release of the different greenhouse gases via animal waste. And simultaneously this method of management or handling waste also help to maintain the animal in a more cleaner condition. By changing some feeding strategy will also help into reduce excretion of the greenhouse gases, mainly methane and nitrous oxide in the animal. That excretion of nitrogen in the most of the animal is best coming through the feed. So we should always give the amount of protein to the animal as per the requirement. So finally the release in the animal manure is reduced. Or we can use the protected amino acid which resists to the degradation in the rumen but available to the animal in the lower intestine, help in the increasing the milk production and result into reduced release of these gases into the animal manure and prevent the effect of livestock rearing on climate change. As we have discussed, through the different animal management system by applying the rotational grazing system is also help into reduction of effect of the livestock waste on the livestock and livestock waste on the climate change. Because of rotational grazing, we are giving a sufficient time for the pasture to grow, for vegetative pasture to regrowth. Because of increasing the quality of pasture, that have improved the health condition of animal, and indirectly it reduces the release of different greenhouse gases. The method of application of manure is also important, that help in reduction of the different greenhouse gases. It is better to incorporate the manure into the soil compared to the applied on the soil. By incorporating the manure into the soil, we are reducing the surface of manure that is exposed to the air, and we are preventing its leaching out process. Simultaneously, we should always apply the manure, animal manure, in a controlled way as per the requirement of the crop plant, and also due consideration of time of application should be given to prevent its excess application and release into the environment and nearby water bodies. Different government initiatives taken to prevent the effect of livestock and animal waste to climate change. Among the different initiatives, one important is the National Action Plan on Climate Change. This initiative is launched in year 2008. While it does not specifically target the methane emission from the livestock waste, however, it emphasizes the sustainable agriculture practices and rural development, which indirectly help in the reduction of the release of different livestock greenhouse gases. Second strategy is National Ganga Mission. It is a part of Namin Gange program, which include effort to manage the livestock waste in and around the Ganga basin, which indirectly help in the reduction in methane emission to the environment, and finally the climate change. By promotion of biogas plant and manure management, India has been promoting the use of the biogas plant as a part of its waste to energy conversion process. This plant captures the methane from the livestock waste, and that is used as a source of energy. This program is the part of broad program under the Swachh Bharat Mission and Pradhan Mantri Kisan Urja Suraksha Mahabhiyan, which encourages the rural energy problem and also simultaneously the waste management problem. Like that, the other program, that is the Sustainable Development Goal and the Climate Smart Agriculture. As a part of global agenda for the sustainable development, India has been working on integrating the climate smart agriculture practices, which include the technique that prevent the methane emission, reduces the methane emission from the livestock. These practices include improving the livestock breeds, optimizing the feeding and breeding practices, reduction in overgrazing, and enhancing the manure management practices. So it is clear that the climate change is a real thing, and the different forces are involved in for the release of greenhouse gases and the climate change. Livestock contributing to climate change through the enteric fermentation and the manure management. Livestock production, but in particular contributing to global warming through release of the two important greenhouse gases, that is methane and nitrous oxide. Livestock waste, if improperly managed, have a serious environmental impact, including the water and air pollution, soil degradation, and release of different types of nutrients to the nearby water body. Reducing this impact require a combination of sustainable farming practices, technology, and policy intervention. Majority of these strategies are aimed to increase the animal productivity, in which in most of cases cannot be achieved without applying the good standard animal husbandry and welfare practices. So here we are ending this module, and today is the last lecture of this course also. We are hoping all these modules are very helpful for you all. So we will wishing you all best of luck. Thank you.